Hey guys, this is the first ever take two of the SmartHER News live report because I noticed when I replayed it that part of my button on my shirt was open during the whole thing. And this is a G-rated organization, okay? And even if it's just a little hint of impropriety, I wanted to make sure I was covered. I mean, it's totally like a mom life thing to do, like sit here and like one of my buttons. Anyways, is it Friday? Yes, it is. Okay, so this will be great. It's gonna be even smoother than the first time. That's what it's gonna be. We're making cheesy eggs. We have a little tea. I mentioned to you earlier that I can't drink. I know we call this coffee talk, but I can't drink coffee. If I start drinking coffee, I start talking really fast. It doesn't help anybody. So I'm more of like an afternoon coffee drinker, for what it's worth. Okay, a couple things. Actually, we had some news that kind of broke over the last 10 minutes, so it's good to mention it. We have another strong jobs report that was reported. Looks like it, at least from the headlines. You always have to dig a little into it just to see what's hiding in the numbers. But so far, it looks like a relatively strong jobs report. I'll go ahead and check that on my computer. Also, you're going to hear some news today about the United States pulling out of a nuclear arms treaty. I just want to mention that because we've covered it a little bit on SmartHER News. It's a treaty that we have with Russia that impacts certain missiles, nuclear missiles with a certain range. It gets very detailed. What you should know is that even though we would announce that we're pulling out of this treaty, it would not take place for another 60 days before we would be out of it officially. We've been negotiating with Russia. We don't think that Russia is upholding their end of the bargain. And so we're like, if you're not going to follow the treaty, we're not going to follow the treaty. And by the way, China's not even in the treaty. And remember, we talked about our World Threat Assessment report yesterday and the day before that Russia and China have been really working together as the main adversaries of the United States. Are you okay? What happened?
I just had an entire glass of water spilled on my laptop.
This is the problem of working at home. We have children and laptop computers, and it doesn't go. They don't go together. They don't go together. So it's okay. I think it's gonna be okay. Okay. So that's just something I want to mention. You'll see some headlines. They'll look alarming. Just know that in about 60 days it will be official. The likelihood is that it would become official, but let's just wait and see. Okay, some historic news happened yesterday, and I'm sure you guys saw some of these headlines about a fentanyl bust at the U.S. southern border. And I think this is really important to talk about because it really shows two sides of the border security debate. The fentanyl is a painkiller, it's a synthetic drug. It can be mixed with all sorts of things like heroin and put into little pills and pops. And with illegal drugs, there's no regulation. So it's very dangerous. CDC says it's one of the number one, if not the number one drug found in overdoses in America. And Border Patrol found more than 200 pounds of it hidden in a produce truck driving from Mexico into the United States. Record amount, millions of dollars worth of drugs. The agent said that it was sort of like a hunch that he was able to like look at that truck and think, you know what, I'm going to scan that a little bit more. Why does it show two sides of the debate? One, it shows the need for border security, because if there's no border security, that truck's driving right into the United States. On the other hand, it shows that there are plenty of illegal substances coming through legal ports of entry, which is what that truck was driving through. So that's the argument from Democrats, saying, listen, let's build up our legal port of entry infrastructure. And, like a wall's not that effective. Republicans or others say, no, we need the wall as well as the legal port of entries being secure. So those are sort of two sides of the debate, and that's why I thought that story was particularly interesting. It proves the need for security, but then raises that question of what sort of security is the most effective. And we're still in that grind. Nancy Pelosi, President Donald Trump facing off. Doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of reconciliation, but we're still 2 weeks away from the deadline where Congress has to present a plan to the president about whether or not they're going to give some money for the border wall. So that's still kind of percolating in the distance. In the meantime, you have Senator Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey, running for president. He announced this morning, if you had this reaction that I did, I thought, how many people are running for president? It's like crazy. But it's actually not, and I'll explain that in a second. Senator Cory Booker was the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and it's a really tough inner city town in New Jersey. He, as he said in his video, still lives there, still goes back to that community, and has a great reputation in that community, by the way. He's been thought of to run for president for years, not just immediately, but now he's making it official. So he jumps in with 4 other current senators, or is he the 4th, or is there 4 other senators? Let's see, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker. So I think it's 4 total current senators that are running, 10 total registered candidates, Democrat candidates for president in 2020, many others still on the horizon. But you have to remember, Republicans in the 2016 election, you had sometimes 12 people on stage for a debate. I mean, we were still far into the race when there were, 10 people vying for the nomination from the Republican Party. So that could still happen here. And we'll see. One of the things that people talk about, they talk about a lot of things when it comes to Senator Cory Booker. He talks about criminal justice reform and federal minimum wage and Medicare for all, which is something that Democrats are really talking a lot about, those that are running for president. But people talk about him as a bachelor and, whether or not that's a factor for a president, because we haven't had a bachelor president since 1885, Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland entered the White House a bachelor, but he didn't leave a bachelor because he got married inside the White House to a 21-year-old when he was 44. So, age is just a number, but I'm putting it out there. So Cory Booker is 49 and not married. And so I'm curious, is that a factor for you? A lot of you, when I asked yesterday about an independent run for president, you were open to it. So are you open to a bachelor being president? Is there going to be dates happening at the White House? I don't know. I think that one of the research data, well, I'm not even going to go into that because I don't know for sure. There's been talk about whether or not Americans are getting married at lower levels, higher levels, etc. But let's leave that aside. So that's happened today as well. Finally, Super Bowl this weekend. This is important. Relatively important. But a survey said that about 1 out of 4 Americans will either not go to work on Monday or call in sick or be late or work from home. So the Super Bowl has to factor on the economy. What? You're not feeling good? Mm-mm. See? This is Super Bowl fever. I mentioned it. This is what's going to happen. Okay. So that's actually kind of an interesting survey that was done. Super Bowl starts at 6:30 Eastern Time. One of the most searched Google searches last week was for the Super Bowl. So it's the Patriots versus the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Rams at 6:30 Eastern Time. If the Rams win, it'll be the youngest coach in history to win. If the Patriots win, it'll be the oldest coach. So that'll be kind of interesting. And remember, Gladys Knight is singing the national anthem because she really wants to make a statement about it. Since some have decided to kneel in the middle of it, or before it. So watch for that. Set your DVRs. I suggest 6 p.m. Eastern Time so you don't miss anything if you just want to fast forward. Halftime show, Maroon 5. There you go. So that's what you have to look forward to, and maybe just plan if you're a boss for some people to call out on Monday, or maybe just do it early if that's what you're considering, because basically the news is on to you. Your boss is going to see this and going to know. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Hope you had a great week, and remember. What we did this week was kind of new for SmartHER News. Redland Cotton was our first partner for SmartHER News. My little Liberty is demanding to be in her big white towel, she calls it, instead of her froggy towel. She's growing up, but she likes the big towels. No, okay, Mommy needs to keep this on.
I need to.
You want it too?
And you tummy.
You need to get into my tummy. Well, you were there already. Once upon a time.
No, it's not.
Okay. All right, guys. Anyways, check out the story from Redland Cotton. Even if you're not interested in buying towels or sheets, I think it's a story you should know about. Okay, I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend.